Okay guys, welcome back. So today we are going to be tearing apart this Traxxas Pro 12, TRX 12 that I got from JP's RC. He's at 83 subscribers. We're trying to get him to 100. Go over there and give him a subscribe. Guy's pretty awesome. Also, when it comes to one-way bearings, he has a really cool video to show you how to replace the bearing inside here for a lot cheaper, because if you go to the hobby shop for a one-way bearing for say like an SH or a Traxxas or whatever, or if you have something like one of these OS engines where these one-way bearings are almost like 50 bucks Canadian, he can show you how to rebuild those for super cheap, couple of bucks. Go over there and check it out. All right, let's check out what this little nightmare has in store for us today. I was going to do the video the other day, but I got really busy with a bunch of other shit that I really didn't want to do. And that's okay, because sometimes things happen. Yeah, no, definitely go check out Jay. He's a 10 out of 10 kind of guy. Oh, boy. Oh, wow. Get rid of that freaking air filters. You don't need that. That screwdriver's been following me around for days. How disgusting. Oh. Wow. Okay, that's, I think we're going to have to heat this up, so that's, we got new bearings. Also, I'm going to be putting a short crank in there, because as you can see, the crank that's on here is ridiculously long, so we're going to put a short crank in there, so that we can put a normal flywheel and clutch on it and start it up in a test stand. Right. Oh, I freaking hurt my wrist when I did that. Crazy. Alright, a little profane. Ah, fucking hot. Oh, check this out. What do you think? 38 special? Get the old primer going? Oh, yeah. Look at that. Don't do that. Or do that. I don't know. It's up to you. Just don't do it at your house. Do it at your friend's house instead. Because then it's not your problem. So I'm just going to take a little bit of heat here. Not too much. A little bit. Just keep flowing around there. Because this engine I don't think has been apart in a very long time. And what that heat's going to do is just going to help to expand that aluminum away from those threads a little bit. So I think, every 50 degrees expands aluminum by 1/1000th or something? I can't remember. I used to know all that stuff. But it's been many years since I've studied that. All that metallurgy shit back in high school or whatever. Well, I wasn't at high school a lot of the time, but I was, but I wasn't, if you get the idea. Yeah, that one helped that out. Yeah, these screws are mighty disgusting. I'm going to go grab myself a pick, and I'll be right back here, because what we're going to do is pick out all that stuff in there so we don't damage the cap head socket there. Alright, welcome back. The finest pick that Chinesian can get you. We're just going to go in there and loosen up all that shit. I just want to say thank you to all the subscribers. You guys are all awesome. There's a couple that aren't too mint, but there's most of you guys are pretty freaking awesome, so oh yeah, that's cool enough to hold on to now. Oh my god. Yep. It does look like that's either corrosion or Loctite. I can't tell. That one came loose. There's always one bastard screw in the bunch too, right? So we'll see what we got to work with. I've never worked on a 12 before. Or a Pro 12 anyway. Oh yeah. Alright. Let's see what we got in there. What do you guys think? Disgusting? Probably. Oh, not bad. A lot better than I thought it was going to be. The rod doesn't have that much slop in it. Let's see about removing that cylinder head there. Sometimes they did change the... Oh yeah. Here's something to think about. With Traxxas, the Pro 12s and 15s, see that clear gasket? It's real easy for it to fall off and you lose it and then your engine doesn't run right. That's for the back plate right here. So be careful of that. Let's see what's we got. I know you guys don't like watching screws being removed, but thought let's do this together so I can show you what I do when I have tight screws or tight nuts. This is the most boring part of the video, I get it. It feels like it's probably pretty worn out, but that doesn't matter. Yeah. All right. Well, let's get a little bit more propane going here, and we'll try and heat up that sleeve and get that out of there. Guaranteed, it is not going to want to budge, at least easily. Love the smell of matches in the afternoon. Oh, fuck off. I'm just take and heat up around top of that sleeve a little bit there. I know Traxxas says, oh, you can't heat them up, you're going to damage it. Well, it's not true. You can heat up any engine you want, but it's just they're thinking that someone's going to go overboard and burn the shit out of their stuff and then try to go after them for it, which makes sense because, well, let's face it, people these days aren't too fucking bright. Just a little bit until it gets almost too hot to hold. Like that hot. Oh, almost burnt down my kitchen again. It's been a while since I done that last. I am going to go find myself something to get that out of there with. I'll be right back. Oh, never mind. It just kind of fell up by itself. Okay. That's easy enough. Let's check out that piston there and see what we got to work with. So if you guys, because these pistons, you can put them in backwards by mistake. So what you can do is leave a witness mark, and it doesn't hurt the engine, is just take yourself a metal scribe and just put a little scratch like that. So you remember what way it came out, because you can put things together wrong and not realize it. All right. Let's pop that crank. Oh, looks pretty usable. We got a new set of bearings right here. Uh-oh, Spaghetti-O. I see a big problem here. There's a big chunk missing out of that piston. That's not good. So that was facing towards the exhaust side. So I wonder, let's see this connecting rod. It actually has 2 oil holes in it. Look at that. That's kind of cool, actually. Never seen that in one of these engines this small before. I guess that's back when Traxxas did quality things. Let's see about that connecting rod. Is the same on both sides. It has a chamfer here and a chamfer here. I wonder. It doesn't feel, well, I mean it's worn, but oh yeah, it's pretty beaten. But I wonder if I can just turn that around. Because if that that cut or that break is facing the transfer port in the back, the boost port, that might just work. I might just be able to get away with it. So I have a TRX 15 sleeve and piston here. I wonder if they're the same. Someone said they were. Obviously the 12 has a smaller bore. But someone said it'll fit right into the 12. Oh, look at that. It does. Are the ports the same? This is the 12. This is the 15. Oh, yeah. Wonder if I could actually technically just big bore a 12 then. Stick that in there. Yeah, that seems like it fits. I wonder if the stroke's the same. Probably is. I think it is. Let's have a look here. This is new to me. I've never really worked on the 12 before. Looks like the rods are about the exact same length. That's for fun. Stuff this crank in there and just see if a 15 guts will fit in the 12 block. If it does, then technically I could just big bore this and just use a different cylinder head. So we're going to take that, take our 15 sleeve, Line that guy up down there. Oh, yeah, it actually fits. Oh, shit, yeah. So that's pretty freaking cool, actually. I didn't know that. Okay, so we're learning things here. Obviously, the 12 will have a smaller, like the head button size will be smaller on the 12. So I'd imagine I could probably use a 15-cylinder head on here, like one of those fancy ones I got laying around. And I could actually build a 15 out of a 12 block. Kind of want to use the original cylinder head because it's kind of funky looking, but whatever. That's really neat. I didn't know that. Because someone said they're interchangeable, and I can't remember who it was. Oh, I think it was... I can't remember the channel name, but I'll put it in the link below if I remember who the hell it was. Alright, so we're learning here. Right on. Okay, I'm going to pause for a minute. I'll be right back. Okay, so there's a little bit left. This 12 might... It probably won't run once it heats up, but it might run in the test stand if we run a lot of oil in the fuel. So we'll put it together with the 12 piston and sleeve. So we flip it around. That side with a big notch busted out of it will be facing opposite to the exhaust port into that boost port in the back. So I think because that has to lift up and open that up anyways. And that piston's going to come down far enough right there to uncover that exhaust port, and this is going to be covering that transfer port anyways. So I think it might just run like that. Alright, I guess only time will tell. Pretty sure it will. Alright, need more propane action here. So we are going to experiment with this. There's going to be a separate run video, obviously, because we can't fit it all in one, but we are going to see about this. Let's see what happens. Because I am just as interested as you guys are. And if it doesn't work, well, I mean, I can get a 15 piston and sleeve and kind of, you know, it'll be the same stroke and everything, but yeah, it'll be just a little bit different. It'll just have a 15 top end in it, 15 cylinder head, and whatever else. The carbs are the same. So it might just get lucky there. Let's see here. Nope. Getting hotter than that. It's one crusty little 12. You guys can use an oven too, which will work. I don't want to go too far. I think. Just a low flame. Doesn't have to be anything too crazy. That's probably a cock for dolly right there. Let's see here. Holy shit balls, that does not want to come out of there. Maybe I can grab one of the pliers and see him pull it out. Oh boy. It does not want to move. Will the front one come out? Oh yeah, front one's coming. Come on. Come on, Betsy. You're just about there. Perfect. Reach there with a pick and push it from the backside. It's trying to come out. There we go. So I just gotta work on getting that rear one out. I'll be right back. Okay guys, well, after about 10 minutes of heating and beating it on the counter, we got it out of there. The upstairs neighbors are probably trying to figure out what the fuck I'm doing, beating on stuff like that, but there she be. So, front bearing, rear bearing, we got brand new replacements here. So, let that guy cool off. We're going to take that over the sink and wash that up here momentarily. Take ourselves a pick and Might need a pin though. Probably gonna end up stabbing myself in the thumb with that more than likely. Yeah, I'm gonna go grab myself a pin here. I'll be right back. Okay, so we're going to put our crank bearings on our crank. A little 2-stroke oil here because that's what I got. Some Husqvarna stuff. It doesn't have to be Husqvarna brand. It's just what I have open in front of me, so we're using it. Right. Freaking liquor before you sticker, you know what I mean? Put a little bit more oil in there. Just to piss some people off. You use too much oil. That's not what your wife said. There we go. Nice and lovely. And then our front one, I'm going to throw some oil in there too. Friggin' something like that. Gonna be a bit of a long video. There we go. That's gonna go in the freezer for about 20 minutes. Whilst that's freezing, we're gonna take our block and we're gonna clean that up in the sink. Switch around here. All right, cleanup time. Take ourselves a little bit of super clean here. Careful with super clean because it is damaging to aluminum, so you have to work with it really quick and in cool water, because if you don't, it'll turn your aluminum black and eat it. Oh yeah, presidential treatment right there. Look at that, how much better it already looks. It takes all that brown and all that shit right off there. If you are going to cook an antifreeze, it's low and slow. Take your time, don't rush it, don't crank it, don't make it boil. It'll turn your aluminum black. You don't want that. Like that. Nice and clean. Can't stand all that dirt and grime all over engines. Crank I'm using has already been cleaned. I get in there with a chopstick. Get all that junk from that bearing race. I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. Bamboo skewer. A little bit cleaner in there. And you go inside. You can pick out all the shit that's in there. Q-tips work good too, but they're soft. They don't last very long, so use a wooden skewer in there. Doesn't hurt the aluminum, takes off all the junk. It'll leave you with the inside of your engine looking spick and span. So that's how we're going to do her here. I don't have a pin small enough, but I'm going to get one. And make sure you clean out that little vacuum port right there. Then I'm going to continue to clean up. I'll be back in a bit. Okay, welcome back. So, I'm not going to do a repeat of last time. I almost blew up my kitchen because that was freaking awesome. So you guys probably remember that when I was cleaning something up with brake clean. I forgot what I was doing. I got distracted and I lit the torch up to warm up an engine block or something like that. And fuck it. Oh yeah. Neighbor down the way is lighting off firecrackers again, trying to get my attention. A little bit of flamage. Oh yeah, flames for views. Doesn't have to be crazy hot. People say, oh, you have to leave the crank in the freezer overnight and all this. No, you don't. It's so small, it's only going to get so cold, right? So that's kind of ridiculous for someone to think that leaving such a small piece of steel in the freezer for 13 hours is going to make any difference. It just prolongs the fucking process. There we go. Bearings are in. Nice and smooth. We're going to let that cool off. Make sure to give the crank a good tug so it seats the rear bearing all the way. Okay, so time to reassemble. Get our new crank bearings in. Nice and lovely. Fresh crank. Well, we're going with a short crank this time, like I mentioned. Right. A little bit more two-stroke oil. Yes, like I said, you got to lubricate your crank. Throw some down in that bearing. Just like that. This is a nice light two-stroke oil. You don't have to use like an engine assembly lubricant like for cars, like for diesel trucks. It's too heavy, it's too thick. It'll make the engine real sticky and hard to turn over. So just a light oil like sewing machine oil will work. Two-stroke oil, you know, your favorite engine oil, whatever you got, really. It's unless you, of course, have a silicone-filled crank, then don't use those things. But we're not dealing with that here. We're dealing with old junk. From, well, that's the 15 piston. So I thought, why is that so clean? Right. You can see with the 15 sleeve, or piston, right around the top here, they call it an oil ring. It's not a ring, it's just a ridge to hold oil. The 12 doesn't have that. That was a later thing. Actually, the 15 blocks used to look exactly the same. The 15s and 12s used to be made by a different company many years ago. So we're going to put some oil down in that wrist pin area because that's a really high stressed area. So you want to make sure there's lubrication in there. Lubricate the bottom of that connecting rod and put some on the piston here. Like that. And remember what we said, we're going to put this in backwards. Now, you can't do that with a lot of engines, but this one doesn't have any cutouts in the skirt except for that brake, which was facing the exhaust port, and there's no difference in the rod. The chamfers are on both sides. So we're going to put this piston in backwards. So the brake is facing the boost port this time, not the exhaust port, because if it's facing the exhaust port, it'll let out its crankcase pressure from the bottom end and it won't run. So we're going to do that. Oh, put it backwards. I was looking at it, trying to, not paying attention properly. I was looking at the scribe mark I put on there earlier in the video. I'll pop that guy out and put it back in upside down. So I don't know how long it will run for. There we go. That's better. But even if it runs for a couple minutes, enough to make a video out of it, I think that'll be kind of cool to see it run with a piston put in backwards and just kind of hear the old 12 bark back to life again after God knows how many years of sitting. Because Jay got this in a bunch of stuff, and he says, I don't know if it'll ever run again or anything about it. And he goes, I'll throw it in there and you can play with it. So it's not like he tried to give me a shitty engine or anything. He told me ahead of time, I don't know nothing about it. So, you know, have at it. Nice and smooth. And I guess we're going to need our cylinder head. There's a head gasket there. And our cylinder head screws. And our, what is it, 2.5 millimeter. Because like I said, I might convert this into a 15 at a later date. Just to have the old school block, because I think it's kind of neat to see that. And they're going to go, oh, look at that little 12. You know, it's not a 12 anymore. It's a 15. Yeah, it's all good fun though. If you can do it, why not, right? Let's take and put that back on. Like I said, remember to not tighten one down all at once. Tighten them just a little bits at a time until you've reached snugness, because you don't want to overdo it. Fuck it over. I think this came out of a Traxxas Nitro Hawk is what people have said. I seem to think that's correct. Click and click. Factory torqued. Let's see if that glow plug even still works. I don't even know if it does. Oh yeah, you can kind of see it. Ever so slightly. You can kind of see that glow rate. See it? Yeah, glow plug's working. I think my igniter's kind of dim because I haven't charged it in forever, but there we go. Compression feels, well, it feels good, but that's also because there's a whack ton of oil in the cylinder too. So I'm going to take and give this guy a little cleanup here real quick. Okay, we're back. All right, so the starter shaft is obviously worn. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take a little bit, and I think this is 1,000 grit paper. Just going to spray a little bit of liquid wrench on it, just a little bit, probably that much, however much that was. And they're just, not all the shaft, just only where the one-way bearing sits. Just give it a couple, just a little bit, just enough to break that glaze on there. That's it, no more. And what that's going to do is allow the one-way bearing to not slip as much as it did. Okay, what are we at here? So, our back plate, don't forget your gasket, like I almost just did, the clear one. Let's stick that guy on. I don't know why the fuck they made them out of clear plastic. That's so stupid. But yeah, again, it's Traxxas, and they have strange reasons to do things that make no sense. Put a little bit of oil on there, just to protect the steel. You don't need to put grease in there. Then we're going to take this guy, make sure our gasket's lined up. We're going to put our piston at bottom dead center. Try to. Yeah, got lots of oil in there. Put our starter shaft at bottom. And hold the crank, and you should hear it click. There you go, hear it? Right. Now comes everyone's favorite time, putting screws back in. Actually, fuck it, we'll just spray them a little bit of liquid wrench. Sorry, I got a little bit excited there for a minute. Fuck, I just soaked my phone in it. Oh well, keep my phone lubricated because, yeah, well-lubricated telephones are important. Oh yeah, 100% better. I do have the pull starter off to my left, which is all jammed up, so I'm going to have to take that all apart. Maybe I'll make a separate video about that later if you guys want to see it. And then, like I said, we'll get an exhaust on this guy here, which I have right in front of me. And we will make a separate video attempting to start this old 12 and see if it'll come back to life. I don't know if it'll run or for how long, but it should do something. It should do something. Sure, crisscross tighten those. Click, nice and even. Like so. Make sure it turns over, nothing's bound up in there. Roll back together. I'm gonna have to find an exhaust port. This is what I'm gonna use. Just it's like a they were used on the oh, what the hell are those things called? Nitro Stampede or something like that. So it's they're not a performance exhaust. They're noisy. They kill performance. It's kind of almost what you put on an airplane, but a little bit different. Actually, airplane mufflers are better than what this is, but this will work fine. I just need to make a gasket for it, which I've showed you guys how to do before. And then we'll get a flywheel and clutch on it. Or just a flywheel and whatever else. And find a carb that's not buggered up and start it up and see what the hell happens. Alright, so there it be. Cleaned up, fresh bearings, piston put in backwards. All set to go. So hopefully that's helpful to some of you guys out there that might have one of these engines that are thinking, oh shit, how do I get a piston and sleeve for it? Well, find yourself a Pro 15 cylinder head, a Pro 15 piston and sleeve, and you can turn your little 12 into a 15. How cool is that? But anyways, guys, as always, thanks for watching. Happy Sunday, and keep on burning nitro out there.